안녕하세요. 예, 사람사랑유학원 대표 이선호입니다. 그래, 오늘 오후에 바쁠 텐데 이렇게 또 참여해 주셔서 감사드리고요. 말씀해 주신 대로 이건 녹화해서 다시 전달을 해드리기로 하고요. 이 오늘 세미나는 사실 그렇게 길지는 않을 거예요. 이번 여름에 필요한 옥스브리지라든지 의대라든지 톱학교 에 입학을 할 때 어떤 게 필요할지 왜 이런 부분에 대해서 조금 설명을 해드릴까요? 그래서 제가 말로 계속 설명해 주는 것보다도 실제로 운영하시는 이 두 분이 이 과정에 대해서 설명해 주시고 답변을 해 주시는 게 좀 더 도움이 될까요? 그래서 이 두 분에게 혹시라도 좀 개인적으로 좀 더 집중적인 도움이 필요하다라고 하면 이 두 분에게 연락을 직접 하셔도 되고요. 그래서 이 자리를 좀 마련했어요. 사실 저도 좀 배워야 될 게 좀 많이 있고요. 네, 사실은 이 프로그램 작년부터 하긴 했었는데 지금 점점 수요는 좀 더 많아지는 것 같아요. 또 코로나 때문에 더더욱 이 썸머 프로그램이 좀 필요하신 분들이 많고요. 저한테 개인적으로 OIC는 참여하지 못하지만 좀 요청하신 분들이 많고요. 또한 의대 파운데이션을 준비하는 학생들에게도 많은 도움이 될 거라고 생각합니다. 그래요. 그러면 지금 시작을 할게요. Well, Aaron and Rafi, can you introduce first, and then you can start when you are ready.
Sure, Rafi, you introduce yourself first, please.
Sure. Yeah, I'm Rafi Peters. I'm the commercial director at OIC, and I work very closely with Yasmin and Aaron and the rest of the sales teams. And my job also involves the delivery of the short courses at OIC, and that includes the university preparation program, which is why I'm on the call today.
And my name's Aaron Hobday. I am the Regional Asia Manager for Oxford International College. I look after the admissions and all the questions that students might have, and I support Mr. Suno at People Loving in helping students apply to OIC, as well as the short-term courses.
Okay, both of you are going to introduce the one pile together.
Say again, sorry?
So you both of you host this seminar together.
Yes, both of us
okay,
will take it in turns, a bit like a TV show.
Okay, you can start now.
Okay, thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Suno. So essentially today is around 30 to 40 minutes. It's a really interesting info session because today we're going to talk about something that has touched everyone's lives, the pandemic, COVID-19, and what's happening in the world right now. How can you make yourself more strategic? How can you get into those top G5 universities? What's been happening behind the scenes? And also, what can you do now to be ahead? So first of all, let's start with the good news. Let's talk about coronavirus in the UK. So this slide is brilliant because it makes everybody feel a lot more comfortable, especially if you're considering coming to the UK. But it's also what might happen in the future for all countries in the world with the progress of the vaccination. So in the top corner, we can see that the news was that Britain is set to achieve herd immunity on Monday. This was actually 3 weeks ago on the 12th of April, according to UCL. And what is herd immunity? Herd immunity is when enough people are immune and do not catch COVID so that it does not spread, so the number does not go up. And we are almost at this stage because 50%, well, actually 49.8% of all British population have been vaccinated with their first jab, as well as an additional 15 or 20% who might have been exposed to COVID. Now you can see this pink color graph here. If we look in April to May, where we are now, almost all of the vulnerable groups, so everybody above 45 years old, by the beginning of May, will have had their first dose and they'll start to get their second doses. By the time we get to June, every single adult from 105 years old all the way down to 18 years old will have had their first vaccine. And if you are considering coming to OIC to study, even more good news that by the time that we get to September, all adults in the UK over 18 will have been offered 2 doses of the vaccine. Now, interesting, down in the bottom right, you can see the coronavirus pandemic in the UK, and you can see that in January, it was quite a terrible time. We were quite worried in March when students went back to school, but ever since then, the number is going down and down and down. And we hope that this signifies progress in the next coming months. So we're quite optimistic, but we're also quite cautious, but positive news about the UK currently. So a little introduction to what we're going to talk about today. After some good news, let's talk about how we got here. What is the situation with education? What happened with the CAG algorithms and A-levels? And don't worry, we will explain what these are. Number two, we'll explain about the impact on the G5 universities, the Russell Group universities and medical schools. Three, we'll talk about deferment. When people have a gap year, they defer. And we'll also talk about the UK government's drive to include more diverse backgrounds from local students when applying to university. We'll look at how it's getting more competitive for international students. And we might have some Q&A, but we'll also look at what you guys can do to become more competitive after this pandemic. So Rafi, did you want to introduce our boss, Miss Yasmin Sarwar?
Yes, absolutely. So everything that we do at OIC in the short courses, academically and with our core curriculum for our OIC students is led and pioneered by Miss Yasmin Sarwar, who I'm sure many of you have heard about. She's relatively well known, especially in Asia. But she is the Chief Education Officer at Oxford International College. She boasts quite an impressive background of interview panelist for 2 of the UK's top medical schools. She's the founder of Cardiff Sixth Form College, which was ranked the best school for A-level results for 9 consecutive years until 2019, where she came over to OIC and managed to top the league tables with OIC. So she really understands the ingredients for success in schools academically. She won Science Tutor of the Year in 2011, Welsh Woman of the Year in 2015, and also won the Nobel Educator Distinction in 2015. She's also done various talks around the world. Next slide, please. So the reason we're really here is, we're not here just to talk about how impressive Yasmin is, but she delivers results, and very impressive results. Over 200 students have been admitted to Oxford, Cambridge, London School of Economics, and Imperial College London. These are also known as G5. And when you hear us talk about G5, that means that there are 5 top UK universities we're talking about. So 200 students to there. Over 300 students admitted to medical school over the course of her career, and 100% of students have received offers to Russell Group universities in the UK. Russell Group is the elite universities in the UK that have research faculties within them. So it's the equivalent of Ivy League in the States. It's the kind of top tier universities in the UK. Next slide, please.
So let's talk a little bit about COVID-19 and how it changed everything about university applications. So we have something called Centre Assessed Grades, CAG, which happened last year. So these A-level grades were the grades which schools and colleges assessed students are most likely to have achieved if exams hadn't gone ahead. And then at the end, we had calculated grades. So the grades based on the UK Office of Qualifications algorithm, and nearly 40% of A-level final grades were downgraded from centre assessed grades. So why did this happen? Last year, there were no exams because of the coronavirus pandemic. And so the government had to think of a way to assess students. Now, they had an algorithm which the government created. Because students didn't take the exams because schools were closed, they had to be given an official grade. Now, for every single pupil in the school, the teacher was asked to give an estimated grade and also a ranking. So a little bit like Korea, where you are ranked in your class. And every other pupil at the school also had a similar grade because of their rank. Then all of this was considered together and put through a very complex algorithm or mathematical procedure. And the idea was that grade would be just as good as if you had taken the exam. And it was based on how your school performed in the past. It was based on predicting the future. But that didn't work out, did it, Rafi?
No, so much to the government and Ofqual, which is the UK exam body, an authority in the UK, it didn't go as they expected. So the algorithm's design actually meant that most students were downgraded because it worked on averages. So let's say we took a school, for example, that generally had 10% of its students getting top A-star grades, 15% getting A's, etc., etc. You would have the algorithm apportion similar numbers of A-star grades, A grades, based on their averages over the last 3 years. So what this meant is that, let's say that, for example, the school happened to have a much more academic cohort that year, it wouldn't reflect the academic capability of the students necessarily. So a lot of students may have been downgraded based on the school's performance, not the students' performance. So this was deemed to be very, very unfair. And there was a lot of controversy in the media about the grading system, saying that students didn't have enough opportunity to get into the universities. So they had to do a U-turn on their policy, completely change, and they ultimately went back to centre assessed grades. And what this means is the schools themselves apportioned and assigned the grades to the students based on real work they had done in the schools. No algorithms, no fancy government policies, just the teachers themselves. And that's how students ultimately got marked on their assessments last year.
So this actually changed the university landscape, because essentially, if I go back one slide, when students get their predicted grades, what happens? Our predicted grades are always much higher. So this meant grade inflation. So if you took the exam, perhaps you know that you would get 3 A's. But actually your teacher, because they like you, because they see how hard you work, they predict you 3 A stars. Now, as a result of the government's, I guess, failure, this meant that the students got 3 A stars or 4 A stars, which meant that the grades were inflated. More students were getting top grades. And as a result, last year, all of the UK's top universities, including Oxford and Cambridge, they accepted more students than they were expecting. And this is a problem because there's only so much space. And 24 of the top universities, including Oxford and Cambridge, said this year they need more clarity. Because so many students were accepted, they had to say to some students, you need to defer a year, or they need to think of other ways to manage the increase in top achieving students. Now, this level of grade inflation will have implications for how universities accept students in the future. It will become more competitive, and there are other ways that students will have to work hard in order to enter these top courses, the top universities and med school. So to Rafi.
So just to give you an illustration of quite how increased the competition has become within these universities, because of the issue that, as Aaron has highlighted correctly, they have had to accept more students than they were expecting. And so somewhere like Oxford or Cambridge would typically, because they're so difficult to get into, they would typically have 3 to 4 offers for every 1 place available. And that means that there is much more opportunity for students to apply from all over the world. So after this whole process of deferred entry and inflation, grade inflation, and we'll come on to the deferred entry in a minute, it's really decreased the number of offers that are being made by these universities, which is increasing the competitive landscape. So Oxford and Cambridge have already made fewer offers. Oxford made 9% fewer offers this year than 2020, and we're expecting to see a domino effect into the next 2 years. And this is the fewest offers that Oxford has made in a decade, and some of the number of offers declined year on year since 2013. Cambridge has introduced what we call an oversubscription clause, which means if they have to accept too many students as a result of this year's potential grade inflation, they can actually withdraw places for this year and either defer them to next year or say, sorry, you can't come this year. So this is something that's actually going into the contracts with these universities. So it is becoming increasingly competitive. So 2021 applicants face competition not just from their own cohort, but from 2020 deferred entries. So as Aaron said, what we mean by deferred entries is in 2020, many students may not have got the grades they were hoping, or may not have applied to university. The uncertainty forced many students to go, I want to be safe, I will wait till next year. And I'm going to tell the university that rather than applying this September or October, I'll apply for next September or October for the universities. So what this means is that not only do you have increased competition within your own cohort, but you are also competing against students who have already been guaranteed places into next year of that university. So what that means is there are fewer places to compete with at these top universities. That's really what it means. So in 2020, due to cancelled exams and other COVID-19 related uncertainties, between 2 and 10% of all A-level graduates deferred their entry. So you could be looking at between 2 to 10% at any given university having already filled those places.
And we're seeing a bit of a difference in the landscape. So top UK universities are now implementing a diversity drive for local students. So for students from not a very affluent or gifted backgrounds, they might offer more places. So Oxford is starting to offer places to students from different and disadvantaged backgrounds to increase their diversity. And they might make offers as low as ABB. According to Yasmin's research, Cambridge has even admitted students with offers as low as BBB, which further increases the competition for international students, which makes it more competitive. Also, at the same time, we're seeing a shift. More students are looking at doing medicine, computing and engineering. Medicine has increased by around 19% post-pandemic. Obviously, this is a standard trend where arts, English and history goes down, whereas those that are more practical, more lucrative careers will increase.
So really to kind of sum up that whole area of this presentation, the processes are changing. COVID-19 has changed the university admissions processes themselves. University of Cambridge's oversubscription clause may mean that some students will have to change their subjects or defer their offers to another year. You may have to wait another year or two to get into places like Oxford and Cambridge. And the effect of inflated grades on cohorts to be felt way beyond 2022, this domino effect that I was talking about. It doesn't just affect this year. Universities will be impacted by these deferred entries for maybe 2 years to come. And we also have less certainty about the value of what grades mean and more value based on the more subjective areas of your application, like your personal statement, your references, and your interviews.
And essentially, COVID-19 has changed the whole landscape. So whilst the odds are unfavorable, our success at OIC has been phenomenal. And I think that's really important to remember that when you're looking at a summer course or a place to study your A-levels. There are some changes on the horizon, but OIC is a place which is really, really well situated to be able to support you in getting the very best results and achieving the best university destinations possible. We have lots of plans that we individually tailor to students. We make sure that we enable you to be strategic in your application. We look at your strong points and develop them further. We might add work experience. We might give you interview preparation. We might help you with your admissions tests. But furthermore, at OIC, one of the key things that we do is find evidence for your passion. So if you are interested in medicine, we will find evidence and back it up with data. And we prioritize the personal statements. We prioritize those kinds of important things that you might not think about, like the interview or preparation for BMAT, UCAT, etc. And we always think of a plan B. And we definitely know what we're talking about at OIC. Mr. Suno has many students that have gone to OIC, and we have some brilliant results year on year. In fact, last year in 2020, we don't advertise this, we had around 98% A-star grades. Now, we don't write that online because nobody took an exam because of the coronavirus pandemic. If you look on our website, you can see from 2019, the league tables were #1, and 92% of all students scored A-star and A grades and got some fantastic university destinations. So we definitely know how to support you in the right way. And also, we are the #1 school, as you can see here. So let's talk perhaps a little bit about the online summer university preparation course, and how even if you're in Korea right now and you're thinking, I really want to apply to university next year, I don't want to go to OIC for 2 years, how can I do that? Or if you want to come to OIC and study the A-level, we can also help you. But right now we're going to talk about the summer course, which is a 4-week or 2-week course, which can really improve your chances of getting access into those G5 universities and top medical school places.
So at this point, I think it's be useful to just summarize the reason behind why we've covered what we've covered. Why is the increased competition at universities important? Why is that relevant? Why have we included that in our presentation? And quite simply, there are other areas in which you can increase the competitiveness of your application to a university. We have a number of areas outside of core academics, and we know the Korean market very, very well. We've worked with Mr. Suno for quite some years. Academically, Korean students tend to be very strong. So when it comes to applying to universities on an academic area, support is required, but usually not quite as much as what we call the super curriculum. And the super curriculum is the element of OIC's curriculum which is embedded into our university preparation program, 2 weeks or 4 weeks, that helps students develop the other areas of their application that are vital for top universities in the UK. So we're talking about things like academic excellence is what we've said that many Korean students already have. Careers knowledge, passion, and preparation, understanding your career, evidencing the passion for that career, and then using that as a core component of the application to your university of choice. And then personal development beyond the school curriculum. This is things like work experience, grade 8 in music, showing that you are a hard-working individual, volunteer work, anything and everything, even reading outside of the school curriculum, not just reading your A-level textbooks or equivalent, but actually showing, let's say you want to apply for medicine, showing interest in certain areas of medicine. Why do you like those areas? Why don't you like those areas? Having an inquiring mind is something that is a very important component of this program and of your application. This program did go very well last year. 92% of students who attended in summer 2020 would recommend this program to a friend, and we generally had very positive feedback.
And I think it's also really important to be proactive. It's great to be a top student and study really hard, but if you can demonstrate that you've done something in your free time to further your interest and to further yourself personally, this is a great win for when you're applying to university. So please don't just relax and enjoy your summer. Consider what you can do to make yourself more competitive. And this course is designed by Yasmin Sarwar herself. She oversees the course, and you can see that she has some absolutely fantastic credentials and has got some students into top universities. Next slide, Rafi.
So the program, the summer program itself, is all online. It's supposed to be accessible to students all over the world, and it will fit. It's designed so that it also fits your time zone. But one of the core components of this program is the Global Space Design Challenge. And this is a common misconception of this program, is that it is only for people that are interested in physics or space. And this just isn't true. It's run by an academic professor from Imperial College London, Dr. Randall Perry. And he and his team of academics from University of Oxford, Imperial, MIT, deliver this program. And the concept is you are building a new civilization on a new planet. And the facilitators help students in teams work towards real problems and human solutions to these problems. And you end up with a presentation. You're posed with numbers of different problems to solve, and you as a team solve those problems together. These team solving skills, and this isn't included for no reason. This is a very important skill to have, but it's also very useful to demonstrate that you can work in teams, solve real problems. It improves your problem-solving skills. So it is a very, very good program, and all of OIC students go on this program every year. So it is a very, very, very good program, and we highly endorse it. So it's a 3-day competition that sits included in part of the program, and it's delivered by academics from Imperial College London and University of Oxford. It offers the chance to learn from teachers at Imperial College, speak with industry experts, and learn outside of the school curriculum. And as I was saying, this kind of personal development and enrichment outside of the school curriculum is something that benefits every student's application. It doesn't solely focus on science, as I've said. It includes things like finance, engineering, geology, medicine, business, etc., etc. So whatever your interest is, there will be a component of this program that will really appeal to you. And students receive mentoring and talks from world-class academics and industry experts. So this is just a very nice element of the program that you would take benefit from if you joined this summer.
So you're not just benefiting from OIC's university preparation, the interview practice, your admissions test practice, your one-to-one sessions. You're also going through this partner organisation competition, and you do get a certificate with Imperial College London on the certificate, and it has global space design. So this could be used as a gold star when applying to university in the future.
Aaron, do you want to cover the...
Sure, this is probably my favorite part of the course. So because of the coronavirus and the pandemic, we haven't had the opportunity to do internships. It's been really hard to have these opportunities. Now, because of this, many things are online right now. And we work with a third-party company called Investin, and they do digital internships. So they do a 5-day digital internship in many different majors. So if you're thinking, well, I'm in Korea, I can't do an internship in a hospital because of the pandemic, what can I do? Well, if you want to do medicine, you can do a 5-day medicine internship where you look at different areas of medicine, you see surgery being done. Of course, it's not surgery on a real person, it's demonstrated. You get career guidance and all of these extra bits and pieces that are really, really useful so that you know when you finished whether or not you like medicine. Same for law. Law is a very popular course, and the medicine internship and the law internship book up really quickly. So this is the second partner organization that you get to enjoy through the university preparation course. And this is linked to everything we do at OIC. We have 3 pillars of success, and one of them is your career development. And after this course, you do either 2 weeks or a 4-week course with us, and then you do the additional optional, so you don't have to do it, but I do recommend it, digital internship. And doesn't matter what industry you're doing, they're all down here. And it's really hard to get this kind of experience. And I don't know if in the future that Investing will do this online. So this might be the last year that they do it online. It's actually held at UCL. And because of the progress with the pandemic in the UK, we will do face-to-face, but also online. So already face-to-face is starting to come back, which is really great news. But this might be the last opportunity, we don't know, to do online. So you can do this from Korea. Normally, it's an additional £595, but because you're coming through OIC, we have a discount that brings it down to £515. And this is probably one of the most fun elements of the course to do. So highly, highly recommended.
Thanks, Aaron. And so finally, this is the main element of the university preparation program, and this is where OIC's academic and supercurricular expertise come into this program. So for the 2-week program, all students will benefit from one-to-one classes, the Global Space Design Challenge that we spoke about earlier, personal statements, or if you are younger, which we'll come on to in a minute, the timetables changes very slightly, personal statements, interview preparation skills, admissions tests preparation. So for those of you who don't know what admissions tests are, when you apply to many of Oxford, Cambridge, med school, and many of the G5 universities, in order to gain entry into these universities, there are some quite difficult admissions tests that are very important to justify your application and increase your chances of getting a place there. They are a prerequisite to getting into these universities. We will tell you whether you need them, but that is also included if you need it. And then bridging classes. And what we mean by bridging classes is reading outside of the school curriculum. Medicine. If you're doing medicine, let's talk about clinical medicine, let's talk about ethics in medicine, let's talk about biochemistry, biology, all of these things, but not things you would typically learn at school. It's about stretching you beyond your school curriculum. And so it's challenging, but it's very, very interesting and delivered by our OIC mentors who work with our students. Now, for the younger students, we will offer the softer skills for the younger students that build into things like personal statement interviews. We will introduce them to the key areas, but it's going to focus on things more like essay writing skills and critical thinking skills and problem solving skills, the fundamental building blocks of developing the skills required for when you apply to university in a few years' time. So this program can be really adapted to the age of the student and the requirements of the student. The difference between the 2-week and the 4-week course is really that you have more one-to-one time, 7 hours versus 3.5 hours. You spend more time on your essay or your personal statement, so you can really get time to make sure that you've done it properly. Now, I must caution you, we are not allowed to write these personal statements for you. Our tutors help you and provide you with feedback, but they by no means write the personal statement for you. That would be really against every university policy. Interview preparation skills, you have more of it, and admissions tests. Typically for the 4-week program, we would recommend that for students who are applying to university within the next year or two. Everyone else would probably benefit from the 2-week program. So the first intake is on the 5th of July this year, and it runs up until the 16th. If you would like, every student has the GSDC, the Global Space Design Challenge included, in which case it would go up until the 18th of the month. And the 4-week course starts on the 5th and ends on the 30th with the Global Space Design in the middle. We also have a second intake if the first 2-week intake doesn't work for you, which is from the 16th of July until the 30th of July. The prices for these programs are $1,999 for 2 weeks or $3,899 for 4 weeks, which is a slight discount on the weekly price.
And in addition, the digital internship would be an additional £515. But the great thing is that when you finish on the 30th, which is a Friday, on the Saturday, the 31st, just checking my calendar, on the 31st of July, you start your 5-day internship. So Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and you're finished by the 4th of August. And you will get a certificate signed by Yasmin Sarwar herself. So a second gold star if you're looking to apply to university in the upcoming few months. So which course should you take? I think Rafi actually explained it, but if you're a younger student, we have had students as young as 14 or 15, and you can focus more on essay writing. Those one-to-one hours, you can focus on anything that you want. You might want to focus all on personal statement, but another student studying medicine might want to focus on admissions tests such as UCAT or BMAT, if that's important to you. Anyone coming to university this year, we would recommend the 4-week plus the internship. Anyone else, maybe your GCSE level or local Korean high school, you can consider the 2-week plus the digital internships. So in a world that's becoming more competitive, It's not just enough to get top grades to be the #1 student. Universities, as a result of the grade inflation, are looking for other things: interest in the course, proactivity. What have you done in your free time? How do you demonstrate your passion? And they will be looking for this at interview, and they'll be looking for really good scores in their admissions tests as well. So as a #1 boarding school, we feel that we are very well placed to help students, whether you come to OIC for 2 years and do the A-level with us, or whether you do the summer course with our tutors. We feel that we're really well prepared to ensure that you get the very best success after studying with us. And thanks to the guidance of Miss Yasmin Sawa, who has made this course and made sure that it's really, really packed full of useful things to apply for university, we feel that when you finish this course, it will have increased your passion and boosted your personal profile over summer. So the things you plan now will give you more benefits in the future. They will create changes in your direction and increase your chances of success.
Okay, thank you very much. That's great. Yes.
Very welcome, Mr.
Yeah.
Stino.
그래요. 혹시 잘 들으셨는지 모르겠어요. 지금 사실은 굉장히 좀 좋은 내용들을 했는데 이게 사실은 어떻게 나한테 영향을 미칠 줄은 솔직히 좀 이해가 좀 안 되실 수 있을 거예요. 하지만 제가 저희 학생들에게 굉장히 좀 많이 상담을 하면서 강조하는 프로그램들이기도 하거든요. 그래서 OIC만이 이거 제공하는 이런 프로그램인데 이 프로그램을 어떻게 좀 이해하는지 모르겠어요. 그래서 아까 얘기했던 글로벌 스페이스 디자인 컴피티션 이런 챌린지 같은 경우도 사실 굉장히 좀 얘기를 많이 하는데 이 필요성을 난 모르겠어 라고 하면서 심지어 OIC에 있으면서 참여 안 하는 학생들도 본 적이 있었고요. 왜 그래요? 그리고 제가 의대라든지 그다음에 옥스브리지라든지 인터뷰를 끝나고 나서 결과가 좋지 않았던 분들을 되게 많이 만나거든요. 사실은 이제 제 학생들도 있지만 외부에서 연락을 다시 저한테 주는 사람들도 굉장히 많았겠죠. 그래서 이 프로그램이 정말 그죠 좀 이해시켜드리는 게 좀 좋겠다. 그리고 우리나라에서 IB를 하거나 우리나라에서 학원에서 A-레벨 하거나 아니면 파운데이션을 하는 학생들이 있거든요. 그래서 그런 학생들의 문의가 굉장히 좀 많이 있어서 이 프로그램이 어쩌면 되게 많이 도움이 될 거다라고 생각을 해서 좀 소개를 해드렸어요. 하지만 옥스브리지라든지 톱대학교 그리고 의대를 가지 않는다라면 A-레벨만 해서 충분히 좀 갈 수 있을 거라고 생각을 해요. 하지만 그 A-레벨만 해서 간다라는 게 좀 위험한 부분이 좀 있거든요. 내가 왜 이 전공을 또 좋아하는지, 왜라는 질문을 빠진 상태에서 공부를 해야 되는 부분이 되게 많기 때문일 거예요. 그리고 제가 잘 들으셨으리라고 생각하고요. 이제 얘기를 하면 끝이 없으니까요. 일단 제가 이 부분에 대해서 궁금하신 부분들은 얘기해 주시면 왜 이게 가장 필요하고 이 프로그램을 반드시 해야 되는지 그 부분들을 좀 연락을 주시면 좀 더 상세히 설명을 해드리고요. 제가 이걸 녹화를 해서 올리면서 제가 좀 개인적인 의견이라든지 왜 이게 중요한지 이 포인트를 좀 나눠서 좀 더 소개해드리는 그런 영상을 좀 더 만들도록 하겠습니다. 혹시 궁금하신 분이 있으세요? 여기 프로그램에서 더 궁금하신 분 좀 소개를 드렸는데 약간 좀 이해가 안 된다는 부분, 왜 이런 부분에 대해서 좀 있으세요? 제가 글로벌 스페이스 디자인 챌린지 이 부분에 대해서 잠깐만 좀 소개를 해드릴까요? 이 부분 사실은 제가 굉장히 좀 좋아하는 프로그램이기도 하고요. 그다음에 이 프로그램을 서머 동안에 좀 이렇게 리크루팅을 하려고 하는데 사실 이 프로그램만 가지고는 리크루팅하기는 거의 불가능하더라고요. 실제로 이해하고 모든 사람이 이해하는 범위가 많이 없어서. 그래서 이 프로그램 같은 경우는 우주 식민지라든지 왜 이런 부분들을 좀 왜 알죠? 일론 머스크라든지 영국의 리차드 브랜슨 이런 사람들 로켓을 쏘면서 왜 제2의 지구를 좀 생각하는 왜 이런 프로젝트를 하잖아요. 그래서 아까 얘기했던 여러 가지 법률가도 있을 수 있고요. 새로운 세상에서요. 비즈니스도 하는 사람이 의사도 당연히 있을 수 있고요. 엔지니어도 당연히 있을 수 있고요. 왜 이런 새로운 세상을 다시 디자인하는 거예요. 그죠? 그래서 이건 팀워크로 이루어져 있고요. 그래서 이걸 같이 사실 이걸 가지고 좀 뭐 참여했다 그러면서 많은 경험을 좀 쌓았다 이걸 가지고 굉장히 좀 많은 아이디어 우리는 우주를 가보지 않았잖아요. 그래서 이런 걸 가지고 그 상상력을 키운다든지 가보지 못한 거에 대해서 왜 우리가 도전한다든지 이런 여러 가지 좀 장점이 되게 많이 있거든요. 근데 이런 장점이 나중에 왜 이런 얘기를 해요. 원장님 이제는 인터뷰에서 어떤 질문이 나와도 난 답변을 할 수 있을 것 같다. 이런 얘기들을 하거든요. 그래서 이런 프로그램들이 하나하나 주옥 같은 프로그램들이 너무너무 많아요. 그래서 OIC 뭐 저한테 그저 상담을 듣고 그다음 프로그램에 대해서 봤던 학생들은 알겠지만 리스트가 너무너무 많아요. 물론 모든 걸 하는 건 아니지만 이 중에서 글로벌 그죠? 스페이스 디자인 탤런트 이 부분은 굉장히 좀 제가 강조하는 프로그램이기도 하고요. 학생들한테 굉장히 좀 좋은 평가를 받는 부분이기도 해요. 그래서 결국은 인터뷰, 그다음에 그 전공에 대한 열정, 그다음에 하지만 그 전공에 대한 열정이 그냥 막연한 열정이 아니라 어떻게 에비던스를 가지고 있는 열정이냐, 왜 이런 얘기를 지금 하고 있는 거거든요. 그래요. 부디 많이 도움이 되셨길 바라고요. 잠깐만요. I have a question, I think. Well, so lastly, can you say something for Korean students?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
You can add something for Korean students after this presentation. Anything you can add?
Any questions? We can take questions if they have.
No. I mean, anything you can add on this. Lastly, people say goodbye.
Of course. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I think really just to say that we'd be very, very excited to work with any Korean students. We had Suno, I think we had maybe 12 to 15 students from Korea last year, and they all seem to really enjoy it. And we also have students from medical foundation, normal university applications, as well as students that just want to refine their knowledge and increase their competitiveness. So we would really welcome all of you onto our course. As we say, the Invest In program, the internship program, will fill up quickly. So if you would like the internship as well, we would recommend signing up soon, so that the places do not fill up. But it's been a real pleasure being with you guys today, and we hope if you have any questions, do let us know. But if not, hopefully we'll see you all soon.
Yeah. Are you going to receive the personal emails if I pass your email address to my students? So they have so many questions, maybe email
Absolutely.
directly.
Sure.
Okay. Anything you can add?
One more thing I'll add, actually two things. So first of all, Korean students, really, really strong, high-level academic students, but what this course does is fill in those gaps and makes you more well-rounded, which is perhaps something you haven't had access to because, in Korea, you study a lot, you have hagwon, you have no free time. This is a fantastic way to use a course, a short 2 or 4 week course, to really develop yourself. And Rafi, I think we had a really nice testimonial last year. I think it was from a Korean student who said she didn't expect it to be so useful. And she was one of Mr. Suno's students. So please listen to Mr. Suno's guidance. And that's my second piece of advice to Korean students, because you might think it's just a summer course, but it really does give you great opportunities later on. So please, please, please do listen to the advice of Mr. Suno, and of course, Claire at People Loving.
Thank you very much. 마지막으로 하나만 좀 더 이렇게 얘기하자면, 작년 같은 경우 제 학생들에게 처음으로 하다 보니까 굉장히 제가 많은 시간을 소비하면서 제 학생들한테 소개를 했던 것 같아요. 근데 처음 시작하는 학생은 이게 뭘까? 왜 이걸 필요하지? 라고 하는 학생들도 분명히 있었고요. 하지만 이제 A레벨 해봤고 한번 실패를 맛보았던 학생들이 연락했던 학생들은 그 학생들은 하고 나서 왜 내가 이런 걸 몰랐지? 라고 얘기를 하면서 좀 처음에 2주 했다가 4주로 더 추가할 수 있나요? 라고 했던 적이 있었던 것 같아요. 그래서 그 학생들 솔직히 예약을 하면 사실 2주만 하면 그 다음에 4주를 늘리기는 되게 쉽지 않거든요. 선생님도 따로 구해야 되고 1대1 수업을 더 추가해야 되고 선생님 시간을 다시 해야 돼서 사실은 그걸 못했었거든요. 그래서 그 정도로 만족도는 굉장히 좀 높았다고 생각을 하시면 될 것 같고요. 이후에 제 학생은 A레벨을 좀 실패했던 학생인데, 의대를 실패했던 학생인데 이 학교 가가지고 나는 1년 갭 이어를 하면서 이 학교에서 나는 좀 수업을 들어도 되느냐라고 얘기를 했던 적이 있었던 것 같아요. 물론 코로나 때문에 그게 다 쉽지는 않았었는데 그래서 온라인으로 개인적으로 서포트를 좀 받았던 적이 있었어요. 그래서 아무튼 코스는 굉장히 좀 만족스럽다라고 좀 말씀을 해드리고요. 그죠? 그다음에 이 프로그램 다시 보고 제가 영상을 업로드 해드릴게요. 그래서 보시고 그다음에 나한테 필요한 건지 한번 확인해 보시고요. 그리고 무엇보다도 언제든 저하고 아론 그다음에 라피에게 연락을 주시면 답변을 해드리기로 약속드릴게요. 그럼 오늘 세미나 도움이 되시길 바랍니다. 감사합니다. Thank you very much, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you.
very much.
감사합니다.
Thank you very much, guys.
Have a blessed
Thank
weekend.
you. Bye.
Bye.